Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Talk Kashrus, presented by the Kashrus Awareness Project in conjunction with Torah Anytime. Today I am joined by Rabbi Akiva Niehaus, Director of Kashrus Operations at the CRC, the Chicago Rabbinical Council, and Rabbinic Coordinator of Liquor at the CRC. Thanks again for being here.
Thank you.
You have a vast knowledge in the world of alcohol and liquor. I do not. But I know that there is a unique product, and you'll tell me if I'm pronouncing it properly. It's spelled S-A-K-E. I think it's pronounced Saké.
Well, that's how most people pronounce it. The real pronunciation is Saké.
Saké.
But we can get away
Is
with
that
Saké.
is that a French word?
No, it's Japanese.
Japanese.
Yeah.
Okay. So Saké is an alcoholic drink. Talk about the kashrus of Saké and what people should know about it.
Yeah. So a few years ago, we started getting more and more questions about sake, and kosher consumers wanted to drink it. And we asked around other agencies, and there was a lot of confusion. What is sake, and what are the potential kashrus issues? And being the fact that it's produced in Japan, just add to that confusion, that mystery, mystique, and it was very challenging. So I had the great fortune that the CRC, in order to help kosher consumers, paid for me to take an extensive 3-day course on sake, a professional course, to learn what it is.
You went down to Japan?
Well first, the course was given in Chicago, and I took a test, so I am a certified sake professional.
Wow,
If need be, I could give autographs
I think
afterwards.
I have to reintroduce you now.
I think so. And it was fascinating, and we learned so much about it. And at the time, I wasn't even able to take, part of the course was tasting it and trying to, I couldn't even do that because we didn't know if it was kosher or not. So I really have to take it again. And it came to light, there were potential serious. So what is sake? So sake is Japanese rice wine. And Japan is very proud of their rice. It's one of their staple ingredients. And they take rice and they convert it with something called koji, which is called a certain type of mold. And they add yeast and more rice, and a 30-day process in order to ferment the rice and turn it into a rice wine. And it's a very unique product. And it's becoming, for some odd reason.
It's interesting that it's called a wine as opposed to a whiskey or something like that.
Because it's not distilled, so it's not a whiskey. As parenthetically, people have this misnomer that wine refers to only grape products. Well, it certainly is by large the most popular use of the word, but you can have pomegranate wine, you can have orange wine. Basically, as you take a fruit juice and you ferment it, and it raises the alcohol, and now you have this wine. So it's a Japanese rice wine. And it's a very intense process, and if you go to Japan, they're extremely proud, and it's part of their culture. And
have you now I could ask you, have you ever tasted sake?
I have tasted it.
Okay.
But
I don't
want
want
to give it away.
What does it taste like? That's what I want to know.
It's almost impossible to describe. It's such a unique flavor, and there's different varieties. There's dry and there's sweet. It's similar to wine in that sense, and it's very unique. So we took this course, 3-day course, and and there's a huge kashrus issue, and I'll explain to you. Most people don't even think about it. And that is bishalakum. Why is that?
Because the rice is not nechal chai.
That's right.
It may be oila shochem malachim.
Rice is certainly oila shochem malachim,
right.
and it's not nechal chai.
Right.
And therefore, when you cook it, now it's going to be problem bishalakum. Now, parenthetically, this is potentially a huge issue with sushi, because if you go to a restaurant and they're making rice for the sushi, and they have a rice cooker which always stays on, if it's not turned on by the mashgiach every time,
it's a problem.
It's bishalakum.
Right.
It's bishalakum. Sure. That's a big, one of the main focuses of hashgacha on a sushi place is to make sure that the mashgiach is top of the rice. Anyways, so making this rice for the sake, and so it's bishalakum. So how can you drink it? And we walked away, this potentially is a big problem. And there's a second issue, I'll get to that in a minute. Anyways, I took this course and learned a lot about it. However, we still didn't feel comfortable that we had a grasp on it. So the CRC paid for me to go to Japan and visit firsthand the sake plants. And when you visit another country with a different language, you're not going to fully understand it. So I arranged to go around with a very seasoned mashgiach there.
I was going to ask you if you went with an interpreter.
Yeah, so this mashgiach I met has been in Japan for many years, and he knows Japanese. So we visited a number of sake plants, and I was literally blown away. You can't compare learning about something to actually
To seeing it.
seeing it. And what we discovered about the bishalakum was huge. And that is, number one, the rice is steamed, not cooked. Because if they cook it, it becomes too mushy. And therefore, it's not going to go for sake. So they steam it. Now, there are places that say that steamed food doesn't have bishalakum.
Right.
We generally don't follow that unless there's some other tziruf to add to it. And what we discovered was that there are 3 different methods of how to steam it. And the largest places use something called a conveyor belt steamer. I was blown away. 50 feet long. You have a rice steamer. And
Just like rice is laid out flat?
exactly. They pour the rice in one side, move slowly along, and it's slowly steamed. It comes out steamed rice, the perfect texture. Now, Ramesh has a tshuva that says that if it's produced in a commercial entity in a way that it's not possible to be done in a home, there's no bishalakum.
Right.
So, therefore, if it's indeed made with this method, then there would be no problem with bishalakum. The problem is that there's other ways of doing it. There's the vat method, which is just a big pot, and there's a sieve at the bottom in order to drink. That is
So not every sake factory makes it the same way.
correct. So we investigated another way, and that is maybe they only steam the rice somewhat, that it's not fully edible, and therefore there would not be a problem with bishalakum because it's not fully made. So I sampled the rice, and I actually took rice fresh off there, and I tasted it, and it was dry and chewy. So I took from the plane with me a little salted pepper packet and added it to the rice. It was a little better.
Okay.
But we came across this sefer called the Dvar of Ram, who says that if it could be cooked more, and then it would be fully edible, then it's a problem with bishalakum. So we got this rice, and we got it back to Chicago. I'm not going to say how we got it there.
I was going to ask you if you took some in the suitcase.
And we brought it to our Rav Bezdin, and we cooked it a little more. We had a little pot, and it was delicious. And therefore, that particular angle is not really going to work. But this idea of using a commercial steamer would work. So therefore, if it's made in that type of steamer, there would not be a problem with bishalakum. There are other angles in this too. Like maybe it goes in one direct process. This could be a similar issue for rice milk. There are plenty of companies that make that, and why isn't that a problem, bishalakum? We could go more on this topic, book it longer. But it was just fascinating when you go down in person and you see it firsthand, and we literally went to help consumers to find kosher options.
Well, now when you look at a sake bottle, there's no way to know how the rice was manufactured,
No way
right?
to know. So our thinking is that in order for them to be large enough to be exporting it to America, they got to be ramp up production enough that they can handle it. Therefore, there's definitely a decent chance, a very good chance, in fact, that they're using these commercialized steamers.
If someone does want to try sake, what's the eitzah? What's the best mahalach to follow?
Yeah, so there's 2 other points I want to bring up. One is that there's a fascinating topic of avodah zara in Japan. But really you should talk about that at a different time.
Okay.
But the other topic I want to talk about is that they're allowed to add other alcohol to supplement the rice wine alcohol, and that could be a problem because
You're saying they might be adding other wines?
Other alcohol from other sources.
From anywhere.
Anywhere. They can import it, they can add it. So therefore we do recommend that if you're going to try sake without ashgacha, to at least look for something which is called junmai. Junmai is a Japanese word for purity, and therefore that means
Pure sake with no additives.
correct. So therefore, again, if you find sake with ashgacha, there are a few. That's definitely the best way to go. If you're going to try without it, at least look for junmai sake. That it could be that's sort of a sign that it's pure and nothing else added.
Okay, I must say I'm tempted just to kind of see exactly what you tasted in this unique item. But
well, if you go to a high class sushi restaurant, then it's very possible they may have something to go up to accompany it.
Oh, really? Is that
Yeah.
it? It's like they serve it to accompany foods?
Correct.
That,
Oh, yeah, it's paired.
Similar
Exactly.
to, it's paired, right?
Yeah,
Just
it's like
like
it's a
wine
wine.
with meat
Exactly.
and things
Yeah.
like that?
Yeah.
Very interesting. Fascinating topic. Thank you, Rabbi Niehaus, for giving us that primer. Appreciate it.